In a future so distant it feels like myth, humanity mastered survival, but not balance. They discovered progress without conscience only multiplies shadows. Karma, the binding of action and consequence, had grown so vast across the ages that no single soul could untangle it. So, the future created a role in the game of life. The Time Ambassador. Time travel was not introduced as machines, but as a discipline of consciousness, Elemental Hypertech, a resonant passage, a way of entering past moments or future probabilities by harmonizing with unfinished karma. To travel was to step into a song still waiting for its final note. When the Time Ambassador first arrived, in what was ancient history to him, but the living, ever present now to those he met, people thought he was a traveler, when in truth he was a moment shared, personal, not for the many, but for the one like you. Hidden from the world, but not the real player. He spoke a language of concentrated words only the future heard. Those in the present who mastered their future had access to listen, comprehend, and enlighten. He showed them karmic debts, treasures, and choices, fulfill and echo their realized actions into their future. Some resisted, calling him a threat. Others listened, sensing he carried the weight of descendants. How dire is the warpath, and how successful the Renaissance path. Time travel is a technology shared by the Time Ambassador to give notice and choice to the present, a measure of their future potential by advancing physics into hyperphysics, a consciousness plus physics model of reality, and what the future calls the birth of Renaissance. The ambassador became a living bridge. His presence meant that every decision in the present was already tied to the wisdom or the errors of futures yet to come. In this way, karma became not just an individual journey, but a collective, trans-temporal covenant. There was pushback. When asked who gave him authority, the Time Ambassador would only say, "I was not chosen to rule time. I was chosen because time itself could not bear the weight alone." The present knew the mechanics of time, but he shared the morality of it. Consciousness had always been here. Now you awaken it. Awareness is the passive magnetic power, and attention is the active electric force. Consciousness is the medium which animation flows. The establishment of the Academy is not a place of walls and windows. It exists in holodeck, the participatory school of future, where generations are raised not by repeating memorization, but by immersion into possibilities. From the moment a child enters education, their talents, harmonics, and resonances are mapped. They live their curriculum as simulations, but they also choose to learn in nature. To learn medicine is to heal the sick. To learn philosophy is to debate with minds from every century. To learn exploration is to walk deserts, oceans, and stars. The holodeck is not fantasy. It is the engine of future society, where what you excel at determines your craft, your community, your contribution. It cultivates harmony, fulfillment, and abundance. But hidden within the great architecture is a chamber few ever enter. The Time Monk Academy. In public, they are respected, even famous. They are known as the mentors of the hidden arts, masters of balance, coherence, and the invisible sciences. They appear in simulations as guides, correcting errors in thought, teaching subtle truths about karma, revealing skills no one else can name, catching cheaters and exploiters in real time for the trial of public opinion. If they appear in your simulation, it is exciting and influential. They are like the Easter eggs in games today. But in secret, they are more than mentors. They are candidates for the mantle of Time Ambassador. The path of training begins not with machines, but with consciousness discipline, learning silence as power, presence as navigation, and to touch time is to disturb karma, and to disturb karma without wisdom is to unravel civilizations. Once this foundation is unshakable, They train in the resonant and cavitation sciences, the hyperphysics of Elemental Hypertech, the study of cavitation, imagination as the doorway into futures not yet written, and memory harmonics, the art of recalling not only the past, but the truths hidden beneath it. To grasp cavitation, imagine blowing bubbles underwater. Each bubble rises intact through a sea of pressure and temperature until it bursts at the surface. The Time Ambassador is taught that information, intention, even fragments of reality itself can be sealed within such a bubble. As the bubble ascends through densities, it inverts. What was hidden inside its own environment becomes revealed outside, while the contents remain protected during the journey. At the moment of release, the bubble turns inside out, unveiling what was once secret and transmitting it safely into a new domain. Thus, the Time Ambassador learns to send knowledge through the unseen medium of time, protected in transit, inverted upon arrival, and revealed to those prepared to receive. The proving grounds of holodeck then shifts. Candidates must live lifetimes in simulations, testing their abilities to hold contradictions without collapse. They are given impossible choices: save a city and doom a village, protect truth and destroy trust, sacrifice the self or the many. The point is not victory, but balance. Then, the exploration of the resonance science with Elemental Hypertech. Resonance science is the discipline of vibration, coherence, and harmonic alignment. Where cavitation shows how information travels, resonance shows whether it survives intact or distorts. The Trinity in Principle 1 of coherence. When two frequencies harmonize, they amplify each other without distortion. Coherence allows knowledge, civilizations, and even time travelers to transmit truth without corruption. Principle 2 of dissonance. When frequencies and displacement clash, interference shatters coherence. This is how memories become myths, truth becomes propaganda, and timelines fracture. Last, Principle 3 of harmonic binding. Just as a note can shatter glass or heal the body, resonance can bind karma across ages. Each choice vibrates, creating ripples and echoes that travel forward and backward in time. They learn to tune themselves to the natural frequencies of the elements: air, fire, water, earth, wood, metal, ether, until their presence creates harmony rather than noise. They study memory harmonics not as a simple recall, but as a resonance within the truth behind the memory. They practice aligning words, thoughts, and actions so that their transmissions are not distorted when they cross the densities of time. If cavitation is the bubble rising through water, then resonance science is the tone vibrating through the water itself. Cavitation moves information. Resonance determines whether that information is received as music, silence, or noise. Cavitation is about transmission. Resonance is about translation. One moves the message across time, the other ensures it arrives in harmony rather than distortion. The monks would say, to cavitate is to send memory a message. To resonate is to ensure integrity and harmony. The Time Ambassador knows the mission is a one-way passage. The past and future they enter become their eternal present, and they are always home, and have faith that they will pass the mantle forward because they were always exactly where they are supposed to be. No matter where you go, there you are. The youth call them time monks because they walk with serenity, not power. They do not advertise what they know, they embody it. Their fame comes not from wealth, but from mastery. Everyone knows to train under a time monk is to touch the hidden architecture of reality itself, worth and value defined. And when a time ambassador is chosen, the entire future world pauses, not in fear, but in appreciation. For they know the ambassador will soon disappear, stepping beyond the return, carrying the karma of worlds in silence, to whisper a forbidden truth into the past. Reverence in the mind, the element of air. Humility in the gut, the element of water. Sincerity in the body, the element of earth. Gratitude in the heart, the element of fire. When a candidate is chosen to take the oath of a time ambassador, they are taken into the deepest chamber of the holodeck, a place known as the still point. Here, there is no simulation, no cities, no stars, no history, only a white expanse stretching into infinity. With a single obsidian circle etched at the center, the candidate stands barefoot on this circle, surrounded by the environment and company of their choosing. Each monk carries no robe, no crown, only wonder. The holodeck floods with echoes of the candidate's own lives lived in training, the lifetimes, the choices, the paradoxes. The candidate sees all of themselves at once, every version, every contradiction, every success, every failure. They must accept all of it with or without judgment. Only then does the mantle descend, not as fabric, but as a weight upon the soul, a resonance in the bones that cannot be shaken off. This is the moment they cease to be apprentice and become ambassador of time. The oath is authentic, genuine, and from the heart. There are no two oaths alike. The words are whispered, never shouted, and recorded in the halls of time. I step beyond the rivers of return. The past is the foundation of my present eternal. Karma is the engine of my creation and destiny. The system of time and space provide accuracy and responsibility to reality. Novelty and identity, the mission of existence. Harmony and integrity, the meaning. The journey through time and space has no crown, but it carries the mantle of choice. Be silent when silence is needed. Speak when voice is demanded. Walk the line where resonance meets cavitation, where aim and purpose ripple in life and love. And when my breath ceases in the game of war and renaissance, another shall rise to bear what I could not finish. This is the oath I have spoken. The obsidian circle glows faintly with the blue fire of authenticity. Then a huge celebration, of course. When the time comes for an ambassador to pass their office, it cannot be done by decree or removed by another. The mantle is alive, and serendipity plays a role. Circumstance is considered. Involvement, participation, influence, and action is weighed and measured. The ambassador chooses an apprentice covertly or overtly. If successful, together they enter the still point. The master speaks their final truth, often only one sentence, carved out of the sum of their life. Then they touch the obsidian circle together. In that moment, the holodeck reveals both their calculated and trajectory futures simultaneously. Some expressions and impressions fade, others emerge. The master transfers the mantle, the apprentice gains it. Like an idea, nothing is lost or stolen. The idea has only been added to the apprentice with full clarity. This is the beauty of the technology. No ceremony, no audience, only two souls and the silent witness of time. The office is for life, due to the nature of time. The past is fixed and irreversible. The future is flux and constantly morphing. The present moment is special, unique, a gift. The time monks believe this matters because the oath prevents corruption. The ambassador cannot shout, cannot distort, cannot abuse. If they try, the mantle itself burns them away and chooses another. The passing ensures continuity. No council can politicize or interfere. The ambassador chooses their successor, and time itself confirms. The academy remains the training ground, but the mantle remains a living bridge, a karmic covenant passed through eternity. He said, "Do not conquer, do not coerce. Whisper the truth of reality. Offer what they never knew they could choose." What truth of reality? That time is not a prison of hours and clocks, but a living energy built from electric force and magnetic power, reaching towards evolution, resonance, and harmony. That every present is the only place where change can be written and peace can be found. That war is entropy, but renaissance is coherence. He carried the Elemental Hypertech model of reality in his mind, not as blueprints, but as living harmonics. air as reason and thought, fire as will and desire, water as memory and emotion, earth as form and style, wood as growth, metal as resonance, ether as consciousness, awareness, your direction. To reveal these powers and forces as a system was to allow karma to balance across the ages. To whisper them with permission was to ignite renaissance. To demand them with obedience was to invite war. But the ambassador knew the danger. If he shouted, if he drew too much attention, the past would distort his message into superstition, idol, or as a weapon. Too much noise could shatter coherence. So he walked as a monk, never declaring himself, only offering choice disguised as wisdom. He whispered to thinkers in dreams, inspired inventors in moments of clarity, comforted leaders with visions of balance. To one, he said, the present is the only forge. Shape wisely. To another, memory is not the past, it is a tool. Yet to another, imagination is the doorway of futures. Use it. Each fragment seeded the consciousness of civilizations. Few noticed, but those who did planted roots that would one day rise. However, the dark side exists with the same intensity. There is a hidden conflict. The future has demanded balance, but not all in the present welcome balance. Some forces, what later generations would call the 13 families, sensed the threat. They had long managed the world in silence, ensuring ownership and control. They feared the ambassador's whispers, for if humanity learned time was alive, control would unravel. The families spread doubt, distortion, and distraction. They built a system of tax, calendar, contract, and certificate. They painted him as mad, irrelevant, dangerous. To most, he was invisible. To some, he was a heretic. Only a handful saw him for what he was, and yet this was enough. The Time Ambassador did not step into a neutral world. He arrived in a realm already divided, already owned. Far beyond the banners of nations and the borders of maps, there are the 13 families, not kings, not presidents, but 13 ancient bloodlines who claim dominion not over countries, but over continents, realms, and Eden rings. Their influence spans both known and hidden seas and lands, extending into places civilization has forgotten or has not yet discovered. At the highest levels are the owners, the true architects. They dwell in lands unseen, ruling estates that stretch across oceans and deserts, jungles and vault cities. To them, the earth is not a home, but a portfolio. Nations are pieces of property. Populations are assets. Beneath the owners are the managers, the enforcers of order. They call themselves elites or the chosen. They operate openly within Civilization 1.0, ensuring the system never falters and Civ 2.0 is never discovered. They draft the treaties, engineer the markets, and pacify the populations. They create the stage and the actors. When obedience wavers, they adjust contracts, rewrite laws, and manufacture crisis. Their loyalty is to profit and continuity, not to the people they oversee. The function is to keep the narrative and stability. At the heart of this massive hidden empire sits the 13 families, each entrusted with a domain that honors the immortals: law, politics, religion, commerce, military, media, industry, and more. These domains are their inheritance, taught to their generations as sacred responsibilities. To control one industry is to control a lever of civilization. To control 13 is to control the rhythm of the world itself. Together, the owners, managers, and families maintain a multi-realm order, a lattice of power spanning visible civilization and shadow domains. But in the end and the beginning, known or unknown, public or hidden, all realms are tethered to a single invention: the calendar. The calendar is their masterpiece and the center of every civilization, the crown jewel of control. By slicing infinite time into days, months, and years, they anchor humanity in cycles of labor and compliance. It is not merely a tool of measurement, it is a time machine of control, binding every choice to their system. Welcome to real time travel. An Elemental Hypertech, time, consisting of the trinity of past, present, and future, have three modes: cyclical time, the repeating rhythm of seasons and returns; linear time, the forward march of cause and effect; and event-driven time, the turning points where choice reshapes destiny with intensity. But even within this empire, there is conflict. Families contend with families, vying for influence over their thirst and appetite. Managers fear the wrath and punishment of owners whose profits wane or populations revolt. And the owners themselves, though united in secrecy, do not always trust one another. When revolts spread or production declines, the owners return from their hidden lands to inspect their estates. They do not tolerate disobedience, they enforce accountability. For even Civilization 2.0 must bow to the law of responsibility. This is the world the Time Ambassador enters, a world bound by contracts, enforced by managers, and owned by families who view humanity as tenants and renters of time. His mission is not to overthrow them, but to offer choice, to whisper a system beyond their calendar, one that binds not through control, but through harmony. The first of the families in white at the crown chakra of the world is Uranus, the family of law, keeper of contracts, decrees, and courts. They bind entire nations not with chains, but with paper. Their children are trained in statutes, treaties, and authority, ensuring obedience through judgment. The second, in purple, the sun at the third eye in senses chakra, the family of order, stewards of dominion and governance. They train heirs to oversee kings and presidents alike, maintaining perspective over nations and empires. Their doctrine: borders are illusions, sovereignty is theirs to assign. Neptune, in blue, at the third, throat chakra, the family of commerce and communication. Merchants of the oceans, masters of trade. Their heirs inherit the flow of wealth, directing markets, currencies, and corporations. Fortune and wrath are their balance, profits their compass. Venus, the fourth in green at the heart chakra, the family of religion, custodians of temples, faith, and ritual. Their children are groomed as priests and prophets, guardians of belief that binds souls. Service is their mask, envy their hidden seed. The fifth, Jupiter in yellow at the solar plexus, the family of politics, architects of legislation and statecraft. Their heirs sit in councils, senates, and assemblies, weaving policies to ensure the family's dominion. Activity is endless, yet always serves the throne unseen. Mercury in orange is the sixth at the gut chakra, the family of science and technology, masters of innovation, tools, and knowledge. Their children are innovators and scholars, guiding which discoveries rise and which are buried. Advancement is harnessed to control, not liberate. Red Mars at the root chakra as number 7, the family of military might. Commanders of armies and guardians of force. Their heirs are generals, strategists, and enforcers, trained in devotion and desire for power. War is their inheritance, obedience their demand. Number 8 is Pluto in brown at the thigh chakra, the family of media and illusion. Masters of fashion, story, and spectacle. Their heirs are entertainers and magnets of culture, weaving narratives to distract and divide. Entertainment is their empire, regret is their shadow. The moon is number 9 in gray at the shins chakra, the family of safety and fertility. Custodians of the body, hearth, and care. Their heirs oversee health, food, and domestic stability, yet foster dependence to maintain control. Ignorance becomes their hidden weapon. Number 10 in black is Saturn at the feet and hands chakra, the family of industry. Builders of empire through performance and growth. Their heirs control factories, labor, and achievement, ensuring progress bends to greed. Fulfillment is twisted into production without end. The shadow is number 11 at the transparent chakra, the family of secrets. Guardians of integrity turned obedience. Their heirs are trained as spies, keepers of hidden knowledge, and enforcers of silence. They move unseen, correcting deviations with quiet ruthlessness. Number 12, the star as the full spectrum rainbow chakra, the family of reputation and legacy. Patrons of promotion, contribution, and fame. Their children are raised as idols, shaping culture and inspiring imitation while concealing imperfection. Influence is their empire. Hate is their undercurrent. Last, the villain comes in at number 13, the chakra's patina, the family of competition and fear. Masters of rivalry, contention, and victory at all costs. Their heirs are rivals, competitors, and rebels, trained to keep humanity divided through strife. Fear is their gift, chaos their strategy. Together, the families form the hyperdimensions of Genesis. Each teaches their children to master a realm of human life. The ambassador was not here to be a prophet or save anyone. His mission was to build the bridge, a structure of truth that could outlast him. He taught the first whispers of Elemental Hypertech, not as a weapon, but as the presence in harmony to reality. Time is not what your clocks tell you. Time moves because of your choices. With these words, the first ambassador completed the bridge with stealth and invisibility, indestructible and eternal, a bridge not of stone, but of spirit and soul connecting wisdom, a bridge humanity could cross whenever fortune allows renaissance over war. The ambassador could not force the choice, only offer it. The time ambassador's journey is not his alone, it is ours. He walked the razor's edge of silence and revelation, not to command you, but to awaken you. The families still keep their calendar, the owners still weigh their ledgers, the managers still measure your worth in revenue and fractions of time. But the present is not theirs, it is yours. To explore is to ignite renaissance. To obey is to invite war. To choose is to bind your karma with all ages. So I ask you, will you march in the calendar's chains, or will you step beyond the river of return and write the future with your own hands? The ambassador has spoken. The rest belongs to you.